Somebody said play Wonderwall in the comments, so you got Wonderwall. Hello, everybody. As usual, welcome to the live stream. There may or may not be something dysfunctioning because YouTube is needy and Apple OS updates constantly. But it looks like we're all good. People are saying it's sounding good. All right, so I'm going to teach you how to build one of my best-selling pedals. It is an amalgamation. I like that word. It's an amalgamation or a synthesization. Reaching on that one of just a lot of great Fuzzface mods. Nothing that like I or we at JHS invented, but it is something that we synthesized into something that I think is unique. I'm sure something's been done close to it, but it is a Fuzzface topology. This is episode 21. This episode 21. Yeah, episode 21, which is crazy. Yeah, we're in the midst of Fuzzface. This might be the last Fuzzface. So I did silicon, germanium, hybrid, 3 series fuzz. You can build it yourself here. So I've actually shown you how to build 2 JHS pedals. We did the Smiley, which is the Legends of Fuzz. This was the first thing I did. So yeah, we're just continuing the Fuzzface journey. I want to get into Tonebender 1.5 and probably the Coppersound 1 knob. And then I don't know that I will do the whole, let me devise a brand new circuit and hand it to you like I have done on the Electra and LPB1 because you're getting it right here. I would say that this would be my ultimate, the devised Fuzzface from JHS. So after all the years of messing with it, I'm really proud of this one. Little housekeeping here. Let me look over here for a second. Yeah, great crowd. Thanks for being here. We now have YouTube memberships up. There should be a link in the description. I know Joshua Bocanegra is in that chat right now. He can check or drop the link. So memberships, it's not going to change anything we're doing content-wise, but we have a lot of people like, hey, do a membership, you know. It affords us a little bit of an opportunity to put like a person editing some stuff we might normally not do because the membership will kind of help pay for the time. We can put out some other content that's special just for members. I have a short circuit will be feeding a lot of the membership. A lot of this community is amazing. This is my favorite YouTube community that we have, the short circuit community. But I have a big basket drawer full of one-off custom pedals I've built over the years, and I'm going to give one of those away a month. There'll be like exclusive Q&A live stream kind of things just for the group. And this is nice because our channel, we got into this accidentally, right? Like we're not Mr. Beast YouTube moguls over here. So just keep that in mind. You know, we get into it. Now there's 500,000 people. You go do a planned Q&A with 500,000 subscribers, you just get a lot. You don't get 500,000 people in the chat, but it's a lot. So this is a way to do something fun, which is kind of shrink the crowd down a bit to people who really love our work and love what we do and support what we do, and we get to do that back and forth. So, you know, you get to be in a group of people where you have a better chance at a fun giveaway or a better chance at getting your questions through. So that's the whole deal there. I'm seeing welcome to Scott's Tots in there. Great. There's already members jumping in. So thanks so much. So that's first order of business. Second order of business, we're going to give away a 3 series fuzz today. Joshua and Bell know this. And let's give away, we've been doing a bunch of the Smiley, but let's do like the Crimson. It's a big muff, but it's still a fuzz. It's on brand. Bell said these are about to hit production in a batch, so it might not ship out immediately, but you know, we're not going to worry about any kind of shipping delay on that. It's a giveaway. So we'll do those 2 giveaways. I'm assuming, I shouldn't assume, I actually didn't tell Coppersound I was in here, but let me just once again, they're probably in here, I don't know, but if they want to give something away, they're always welcome. I will be using the Coppersound DIY breadboard system. You all have seen this, so it feels like beating a dead horse a little bit, but if you're new, I really encourage you, go over to Coppersound, plus this new pedal looks sick. Go over to Coppersound, and if you click on DIY, right? You go to shop. You'll see all this system. Now, I have shown this stuff over 21 episodes. I'm not paid to show this. I just love it. It's a good product. That's enough for me. They do send me free breadboards for the show, but this is great. I just love supporting them. And if you're in Massachusetts, you have to buy it because they're local. So I have done a couple of things here. You can go into the component kits. The Shrieking Eel is my design given to you guys for free. I mean, you have to buy this parts kit, but this is my design that I handed over, and they made a parts kit out of it. So that's really cool. And then there's also the LPB1 Boosted Drive Fuzz. So that's another one of those kits. So I just encourage you, go check out coppersoundpedals.com. You won't regret it. Really great stuff. Let me get back over to my camera. Where are we at? Yeah, so just check that out. That's the shameless plug here for that situation. And there we go. Okay. So JHS Extra, that is a YouTube page where we're putting some extra things. Go subscribe to that. That's really the only orders of business. If you're new, there's a link in the description with all my tools, like practical tools, everything down to screwdrivers, to soldering irons, to what parts do I buy. You'll see me using Atlas DCA again today. So all of that, I mean, everything down to like my scope, all this stuff, it's in there. So that's in the description. So I think that's all the business. Yeah, see Boki in there. So we're good. Yeah, let's get right down to it. Let me hook up the breadboard, and then we're gonna kind of go through this circuit. I'm excited to show you. So that's hooking the breadboard up. Not that complicated. That's crooked and it bothers me. But we're good here. All right, let's take a gander at the Fuzzface schematic. Just a little refresher here. We have a Dallas Fuzzface NPN. I've covered this in detail. If you feel like I'm skipping over important information, I'm not. You've just missed it in previous episodes. So just to be really clear, we're going to be doing an NPN Fuzzface topology today. I've covered what both of those are. NPN is silicon, PNP is germanium. That's typically how it is. It doesn't have to be that way, but that's kind of the unspoken rule. So in a Fuzzface, if you notice here, I have 2 transistors. I'll circle them. You have stage 1 and stage 2. And then you have a feedback loop connecting the base to the emitter. That's the classic Fuzzface. Your fuzz control is always down here on the emitter of Q2. And that's it. I mean, any pedal that has this topology is based around this kind of, any pedal that has this sequence of events is based around this topology. Now, there's some debate on where exactly this came from. If Nick Sternberg's in here from fuzzboxes.org, I'm sure he can say hello. But fuzzboxes.org has a good history of the fuzz faces. I'd go check that out. Where did it come from? Is it the Vox 816? I think so. But then you have the 1.5 tone bender. You have the fuzz face in 66. So you have a lot of stuff. It's just like, we're not sure, but there can be some pretty educated speculation on who invented the circuit. So that's what we're dealing with. Now let's look at the 3 series fuzz. Now immediately, before I build this, I'm gonna explain this. Now you're gonna want to take screenshots of this. This, like I said, it's one of our best-selling pedals, but I don't mind giving it away. This is not rocket science. I wouldn't even consider this proprietary. I would never goop this, although some people would. LOL, #blessed. But I'll kind of tell you the differences here. So in red, here are 2 stages. Here is the basic fuzz face you're familiar with, exists right here. So that's the basic fuzz face topology that you've been learning with me for a few weeks. What makes it different? In green, I'll show you the things that are different. Number 1 is, you've seen me doing this, but it has an external bias control. So right off the bat, you know, this is a 3-knob fuzz pedal, right? Volume, fuzz, and bias. That bias control, when you turn it, it's an external control for the ladder of potential gain on Q2. All right, we've covered this tons, especially if you went through the Electra circuit with me, you get this. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a playlist called Short Circuit, Eat Your Heart Out. The next thing that is different is a fat toggle. This is simply changing the coupling input capacitor value. It's adding a capacitor in parallel. That's all it's doing. And when you add in parallel this relationship here, you get different numbers and different math, and thus you get different bass or treble frequencies. Okay, so that's all that is. Again, it's just a very easy mod to really do on anything. You could put this on your favorite overdrive, doesn't matter. You could change, you'd have to change those values to taste, but that's the other mod. Then there's this pre-gain. Now, notice in pink, there's something different about my 3 Series fuzz. It doesn't have a knob right here. It doesn't have this control, the classic fuzz face control. Well, it's because it sucks. You just need, if you have a classic fuzz face, you need to turn it up and never turn it down, because it's just, that's how it should, I mean, it just doesn't sound good when you turn it down. So there's a 1K resistor there, okay? And that 1K means the knob is fixed all the way up. So in the 3 Series fuzz, the fuzz is always all the way up, okay? This pre-gain control right here is acting like your volume control on your guitar. On the 3 Series, I call it fuzz, but it's just a pre-gain, which is a gain control. I mean, things like the color box, tons of fuzzes work that way. But for a fuzz face, you know, not so much. Who invented this? I mean, people were modding fuzz faces like this as soon as they were made, pretty sure. The popular things you've always seen this on if you're a DIY builder is like the full tone 69, stuff like that. You know, you see the pre-gain a lot. I think the Analog Man Sun King even has it, or some version of his. It's just a very common thing. All right, so we have that mod. And then everything else is pretty standard here. I mean, these are right on par. These BC 848s, you know, that's a surface mount equivalent when I'm talking about these transistors here in blue. You know, so what transistors do you use? I mean, just any NPN that's like 100 to 150, whatever, HFE, okay? Again, if you don't know what this means, we have covered it in previous episodes. Choosing transistors for the Electra stuff was a really good one. And then I did this on the last few Fuzzface episodes. So, and then there's the big elephant in the room here. Let's outline it in black. Normally, you have the volume pot straight to the output. Well, no, not in this case, because I needed to make this pedal not be really quiet. If you've ever played a real vintage fuzz face, or any of the fuzz faces that we've been playing with here on Short Circuit for the last few weeks, you'll notice you kind of just always have the volume knob all the way up. That's because there's not a lot of volume gain in the circuit. And the moment you do this pre-gain arrangement, if you turn that down, you're deleting even more volume going through the circuit, right? So this is a textbook, like literally out of a textbook. And you've seen me show this on the LPB1. This is not an LPB1, but it's a common emitter gain circuit. You'll notice it's the same choice of transistor. This is a clean boost tacked onto the end, coupled with another cap. And all this is doing is giving a bunch of clean gain to the output of the circuit. So that's the gist of the fuzz, how it works. So now that you know that. You can go back to this forever and rewind it. I encourage you to take a screenshot. I'll have this back up in a second. So take a screenshot, you know, eat your heart out. That's all the mods. That's how it works. And I'm just going to breadboard it here and probably take about 30 minutes. I'll try to not go too crazy fast. Let's see here. Bell's in there. All right, we're good. So this is the 3 series fuzz built on a Coppersound breadboard kit to show you that process. And every mod I've ever talked about, all the way, I mean, honestly, even back to LPB1, Electra, all the Fuzzface stuff we've talked about, it all applies. Like, you could make a hybrid germanium version of this, all of that stuff. That's what I tried to say early on, and I knew it would take some time to sink in for several people based on the comments I was seeing. But everything I'm doing in this class, we're at episode 21, so this is class number 21. There's some thought in it, and it's linear. All of these things apply to all things. So, you know, transistor circuits are transistor circuits. If they're a boost or a fuzz, they're still going to have the same mechanic, like the same principles in the circuit topology. So, all right. I have like really fluffy hair. It's nice. My drink today is Polar Seltzer. I'm betraying Waterloo briefly. All right. Thank you all again for being here. Great crowd today. Let's jump right in. All right. So I work from, you know, I'm going to look at this and I'm going to work from the input over to the output across this board. So the very first things we want to do, I'm going to take my El Pato can here with my jumpers, and we're going to connect up these sections. Ground right here goes to ground here. Again, I'm not going to explain it today. I've explained it a lot. So if any of this is over your head, there's 20 previous episodes to see me explain it a little bit better. But I think we have the hardcore people in here today. So I'm just connecting these power rails up. This is where 9 volts comes in, and now it's coming through these across. So I'm connecting it on both sides. This is a little bit more circuitry than a normal fuzz face because of how, basically it has a boost at the end. It has more controls. So I do need all this space. Okay, this input, I'm going to just let that hang here for a second. We're going to need to put the output right here. Let it hang till I make it that far over. All right, and now we start. So the very first thing I want to do is I want to come in here and I want to get a 250K. I want to connect the input to that 250K and the ground. So this is how I do it. If you're at home, you want to print the schematic or have the digital on an iPad, and you want to go through it systematically in a linear order to check yourself before you wreck yourself, as the great prophet said. All right. So 250K. Club linear boys and girls. That 250K pot is like in the worst spot on my desk. Sounds like there's like a camera in front of it. Okay, I can tell I don't use that one much. All right, so right off the bat, we want this input wire to touch lug 3. We know that's 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put this right here, scoot it over, right into lug 3. Okay, so that is pre-gain. And then I'm not going to hook knobs up because I just don't have it in me. I need a Sharpie. Where's the Sharpie? Let me grab a Sharpie. Okay, so one thing you can do here, instead of a knob, is turn the pot all the way down and then just draw a line. That'll give you some identifier of where the heck you're at. There's a little glare on it, but I think you get the idea. So now when you turn the pot with no knob, you kind of have some idea where you're at. Okay, and if we look back at the schematic, lug 2 is going to this cap switching situation, but lug 3 goes to ground. So lug 3 to ground, we're just going to do that right now. Lug 3 right here to ground. Lug 2 goes to this switching of the fat switch, which is like the thick frequency bass thing. So how do I want to do that? I'm going to use these. I don't love them, but I do have these like little slider switches. Coppersound has better like hardware switches. I'll use this. I actually don't know if that's in my Amazon store in the description. It might be. If it's not, remind me and I'll put it in there. But so I just want to hook this up down here. Essentially, like I want to put that fat switch here. I'm just going to plug that in, and I'm going to grab the 2 capacitors. So this says, so I've gone through, I want to make sure I connect this, and now I'm going to be putting in those 2 caps. So a 0.022, 0.022, my desk is so messy, it's amazing. 0.022, got one here. If you haven't seen the one angle of my desk, there's basically a live stream rig on my desk, so it's quite the dance. All right, so here's a 0.022, and then we're going to do a 4.7, which is behind my iPad. Let's see here. There we go. 4.7. All right, so now I have those 2. Let's insert those. All right. The first thing I want to do is I want to connect that lug 2 to the middle lug of the switch. And I want to double check. Yeah, that's in the same section there. All right. And then we're going to have 1 capacitor coming off this leg over here. And I'll show you on the schematic. You basically have the signal flows through this capacitor to the base, but you're flipping on that, right? So that 0.022 is always on. So I'm going to connect it to the middle here. Actually, I had it in the wrong one. So I'm feeling a little camera switcher jumpy today. So I've got the capacitor. I got that lug 2 coming right here. I'm going right into the switch, and I also have that cap coming over and jumping. And then what we're going to do is this will insert on top of that. We put the negative of that cap in the switch, and there we go. So when I turn that on, hold your horses, wrong pad. When I turn that on, it activates a second cap in parallel. So right here, bam, second cap in parallel. Just staring at it, make sure I did it right. Yep. There we go. Okay, so that's installed. Go back here, mark it. So now I want to go BC 848As. I mean, these are like 150 gain. I'm just going to use like the cheapest transistor I have here. It is negligible in my opinion. So let's just do like, let's just measure these real quick. I've got some 2N5088s. There's a real, there we go. If I put one of the, actually, let me measure these because I have BC 108s right here. Let me just insert those because I think they measured pretty, that's the ones I used on the last live stream. So then turn that on. 190. Like that's solid. Like I'm okay with that. I'd like to do the weaker ones. I prefer a weaker transistor, like 100s, because the germaniums usually fell that way, and some of the sound has nothing to do with, oh, it's germanium. It's just that it's a weaker transistor, less output. 590. Why did I do? Yeah, that was a dumb moment. So let's do. I knew that was way beyond what I was looking for. Let's do 304s. Let's see here. I'm just going through and I want to find a couple transistors that measure like around 100 or something. 150, 135, that's a keeper. Let's find one more in the bin that has the leads already bent a little bit. Here we go. So I'm not going to like obsess over the order. I know that you've seen me. That's great. Those are both, you know, I told you in one episode I prefer 20 apart and all that, and the lesser gain goes first and stuff. But in this case, I'm actually not going to do that, because in the 3 series fuzz, we don't do that. The SMT parts are on a reel and they go in as they are. But the circuit is thought about that way. So you don't really need to like stress over some particular gain structure on this unit, as long as they're fairly in that 100, 150 area, you're going to be fine. So let's zoom back in. Got a little zoom left there. Scoot it over. Something like that. All right. So let's put Q1. Let's do Q1 up here. I'm going to put the transistors like up top, and we're going to, the challenge is, you know, you have a road that you have to build here. You got to leave space. So I'm having to like, I want stuff spaced apart, but I can't be too worried with what you can see. Chris Asta has a really great question. Are all SMT transistors the same? They're not the same. They're very consistent. They're more the same than through hole in most cases. Is it possible to use a push pull? Yeah, absolutely. It's a switch is a switch is a switch. You could put this on a foot switch. It doesn't matter. A switch is switching. So you can make it a light switch. You can do anything you want. I have some of those switches that are like from a Coke machine. Literally, I wish I was joking. So where are those at? I have some ridiculous bin somewhere with the Coke machine key switch. The switch is a switch. So, all right. Let's keep trucking. All right. I need to connect to the base here. I want to go from that capacitor to this base. I want to make sure of that. So there's a point where those capacitors meet, and I want to make sure that goes into the base. That's that connection. All right. Now I want to make sure I connect. I just also want to say, I have a picture-in-picture that keeps me up in the corner. I'm going to quit worrying about it for a bit, and you're just not going to see my face, which I'm very glad of, and you're probably glad of. So it bothers me. I like having the picture-in-picture switch with me, but I'm not going to worry about it. It's a little more efficient to drop it. So let's just focus on either the schematic or this and get me out of the frame. So when we're looking at this, we have a ground line I want to worry about. Okay, so that ground line is coming off the emitter. And there it is. This is going to be messier than I like. This is YouTube, y'all. This is a live stream. I'm just building it out in front of you. Now, if we look back over here, you know, I don't want to forget this feedback loop section, but then I also have these connections to be really careful with. So let's go ahead and put this transistor on the table, like lay it over here. So I'm going to plug it in like right there, bend it over. So I have like those two Fuzz Face sections, right? So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to get 100K, and I'm going to tie the base right here. I'm going to tie this base over to the emitter here. So just going to grab a 100K resistor. I love y'all for watching this stuff. Y'all are special. Let's see here. There's so many good questions. I just don't have time or capacity or brain energy to answer. I wish I could. All right, we're tying the emitter over to the base. And this is messy, y'all. I hate the messiness of this, but I'm just doing it. As long as it works, we're gonna move on and smile. Okay, so now we have that. That's done. See, I'm just checking it off as I go. Another connection I want to go ahead and do is I want to connect that collector to this base. Just get it out of my head, move on with it. I love these, right? Like, these are awesome. They are just not perfect if you want a clean view, but they're really great for stuff like this. Normally I have smaller, like, solid core wires, and you kind of trim them and make it all pretty and stuff, but we get time. So let's connect the collector of Q1 right here, the collector, over to the base of Q2. The base is right there. So we're in that line. Okay. Is that a good focus? What do we got here? Yeah, we're focused on the, that looks good. Okay. Now, here's a new part. Here's something you have not seen. Here is a 100 PF picofarad cap. This is a very small cap, usually ceramic. And this is to darken the circuit a little. It's kind of another connection point where these frequencies can be darkened. People complain that silicon is bright, and the complaint doesn't really bother me, but there is a reality that, yeah, silicon's a little bright. So we're gonna that's a thing here that none of my other fuzz faces have ever had. So we're gonna put in that 100 PF. So let's, I'll put that up so you can look at it while I dig for, 100 PF. Shockingly easy to find. All right, so we're putting in that 100 PF. I love PF Changs. If you like PF Changs, drop a hot comment. My favorite thing is the General's Chicken. I also like the lettuce wraps. Let's see in those comments your favorite PF Chang. Nick loves PF Changs too. Belle, tell Nick I'm talking about PF Changs. And every time I think about PF Changs, I think about Nick. We've had many dates to PF Changs on our trips. It's the ultimate DoorDash when you're tired in a hotel wanting to never hear guitar again from some event. All right, we're connecting. I got distracted. We're connecting collector to collector. So let's just actually do that without a jumper. Collector right over here to that collector. Again, I hate how messy this is, but I'm going to shut up about it. I'm just doing it, you know. This is a lesson for me. The problem with this type of messiness is if this doesn't work, which is very likely, you know, the troubleshooting is not as easy. You want to think you did it right, but you always miss something. So but just keep track, kind of keep track of what you've done. I put little X's on stuff. So let's go ahead and do this section here, the old traditional fuzz face control. Let's get a 1K and drop it to ground. So that what that essentially is, you know, the fuzz face is a 1K fuzz pot, and we're just installing the 1K and saying it's on, it's all the way up all the time. So the more resistance there, the more fuzz. You could play with that resistor. It doesn't really have any more gain potential because by the time you put 1K on the emitter, it's, I mean, you're, yeah, what do the kids say? You're pretty skibbity at that point. It's not going to get any better. So we're putting that 100K in, and that's on the emitter of Q2. So here's that emitter. We're going to ground, plug it in right there, just straight to ground. Okay. Then if I look over here, we've got another 47 UF cap. It's that network. This is called a bypass capacitor. That's fixing your gain level of potential through that circuit. And then this is bypassing some frequency. It's what makes the fuzz face kind of spongy and ooey gooey, you know. Let's see here, 47 UF. It's 4:12 Central Standard and 56 degrees. Wow, it will not focus. You're dead to me, you camera. All right. 47 UF coming off of, let's see here. Yeah, 47 UF coming to ground there off the same spot. I'm going to share a little place there. Share it. Bam. Again, messy, not proud of it, but whatever. Who cares? All right, so we have all that hooked up. It's pretty nice. I'll test when I get to here, and then we'll add this on. I may not even add this on. We'll see. I mean, it depends on how much time I get. I'm going to definitely have this part of the circuit working by the end of the episode. Let's add the 33K here. So 33K, this is a Q1 collector resistor. This is just part of the bias. It's part of the voltage. All right, so we're going to add that in. Q1, we're over here, remember? I want to go straight to, okay, I want to go straight to 9 volts. If you look above Q1 there, it goes straight up to 9 volts. It just connects the collector to 9. So here's the collector. I'm plugging that in right there directly to 9 volts. Done. All right. This 330 ohm, R means ohm, ohmage, whatever. 330. It's a really small amount of resistance, but it's a really important one. You can try 1Ks there. Some people like a 1K. I don't know what the favorite, I'm looking at the, let's see here. I don't know what the favorite, I have no idea what the favorite PF Chang's thing was. I just saw that someone doesn't have it in Canada. Sorry. All right, let's add that 330 ohm off of 9 volts, kind of into oblivion. But it's, let's just bring it off of 9. So I'm actually going to bring it off down here because I want to, like, I'm not using this section yet. I know that wire's in the way, but this is like wide open. So just kind of ignore that white wire. So I have that coming off 9, and then we're going to connect that bias pot. So right now I want to get a 5K, I'm going to get a 5K pot. And let's see. Here we go. 5K pot, and on the schematic, you'll notice that 330 ohm right here, it's connecting over to lug 3. Okay, so that's the first point that I want to be sure of. So that's lug 3 right here. So I'm just gonna, like, actually, let's do this. Let's see here. It's a little dangerous. Let me move it over. What I want to do is just use this few jumpers because they're just so messy on the camera. But again, it bothers me how messy this is, but y'all love me. We're gonna make it. All right, so that's connected straight to 3. 1, 2, 3. So I was able just to put that in there and move on. Okay, let's turn that down again. Draw on it with the Sharpie. All right. Keeps drifting towards me. All right, lug 2. You don't have to hook up lug 2. It's a safety precaution in case it fails. I'm not going to worry about it. Right here. I mean, sorry. Oh my God, my brain is dead. You do have to hook up lug 2. You want to join lug 2 and 3. If you don't have to use all 3 lugs. You could have not used 3 and gone straight into 2. That's what I was trying to say. But let's go ahead and do that. It's drawn on the schematic. So I need a 0.1 capacitor. It's behind my iPad. Lovely. All right, we got a 0.1. We're going to take the 0.1, just like it says, and we're just going to connect it off of that same lug 3. Bam. So that's technically your output cap right there for the circuit. I want to go ahead and jumper lugs 2 to 3 because they are on the schematic. Just want to make sure I don't forget that. Those are jumpered. Now I have an 8.2 coming off of lug 1. This is like Legos. Let's see. 8.2. Let's go back here. Someone's saying R333K seems to go to ground and not V. No, it goes to positive voltage. Look. 33K touches positive. Negative is down here on the emitter. Scared me, bro. All right. So now we're just going to connect this 8.2 from the lug 1 right here. I hate how far over it is. I hate a lot about this because it's messy. I don't like mess, but we're doing it together forever. And we're just going to go straight to Q2's collector. Oh, that won't be messy. Look. Ta-da! It's right there under it. I didn't plan that little serendipitous moment. Connected right in. All right. So that's connected. We have that cap is in, and we could drop. We can test this. Let's get this 100K linear pot club. What was the original saying? I can't remember. Team linear. I can't remember. It was something dumb. I loved it. We're connecting over to lug 3. Let's actually pull that up a little. Let's just keep doing this thing where I force parts to touch each other without wires. Like that. There we go. What is it? B100K Club. Thank you, Mr. Mott. I knew it was something like that. I will always choose a linear pot over audio taper. Love me or hate me. I do not care. So we're also going to connect lug 1 to ground. We're on this pot over here, B100K. Lug 1, we're going to go straight here to ground. Okay, and lug 2, we're going to go to the output. For now, it's that green wire I'd put over here on the output. So this should work. I have no faith. I have like negative faith sometimes. But as the great Fred Durst said, quoting the great George Michael, you gotta have faith. Flight delay be cranking. I must mark every pop. If I do not, my brain will not allow myself to think. It's over. Looky there, y'all. Man, I feel like a professional. You know, sometimes I don't on this show, but I feel pretty darn good. I might run for office. I don't know. I might start sailing. Buy like a riverboat. You don't sell in a river. I might riverboat with my own riverboat. I feel good. So you notice this doesn't quite act like that production model. You're probably noticing that. There's really no dead spot on the production model. So where that's coming from is, you know, I've literally beat this dead horse. Let's erase all of this. Now remember, la, la, la. Hold on. Wow, that was amazing. Eraser torture. All right, here we go. So for this bias control to be perfect, it really comes down to that, because these are just a little different than the surface mount counterpart. So when you build yours, just play with this. Just move it around and find where you want that pot to how you want it to feel. Like, don't get hung up. You can see right here, it's a little different, right? Like, it's a little more unusable. You just mess with that resistor right there. That's all you gotta do. I'm not gonna worry about it right now. All that range is pretty much there. All right, here's our fuzz control. It works great. Here's our volume. Honestly, that's pretty loud. Okay, sounds great. And oh, the fat toggle. Watch it not work. It works. All right, so first things first, well, fifth things fifth, I guess. I've already said this, but let's do some pink here for Austin. Play with that number, right? And then over here, mess around with these, just whatever. If you remember from my Electra design, the Shrieking Eel, it has the Uncle Earl's Tone Daddy tone control. You could put that there too. So it's kind of an open book of options. I really don't want to spend time on this. It's simply a boost. I don't need to demonstrate it. You've heard it. It's going to make it louder. It's not going to really change anything. It just makes the fuzz really, really powerful for the different settings where you might have the fuzz turned down or whatever. So I'm actually going to, because of where we're at on this and because it worked, let me clear this off for you. And then I'm going to give you one more chance at screenshots. Hold on one second. All right, so let me put this here real quick. Let's do NPN 100 to 150 HFE. That's really like all you need to know. And then here's one more time, just to be clear, you could play with those values, and then you want to play with that value. You could mess with this a little bit. It could be fun. And then that's like, you know, that's it. That's really it. I wouldn't mess with anything else. Some people will put a 1K here. If you want, do that. Let me do some Q&A. I never get to do this because I never have time. Take a screenshot here. Let me make sure. So this is 3 series fuzz. Okay, Take that screenshot. I'll give you a few seconds. We obviously have giveaways here. Belle and Joshua, I'm in a little different position than I'm used to. How about you text me those winners' names if you want to, and I will, I'll read them off, or we can do them more slowly. Let me just jump right into Q&A. I'm going to be reading the comments right now. It's time for Q&A. Okay. So, David D. Los Santos, ever built a fuzz face with hard clipping diodes at the end? You could, but you're already getting tons of clipping from the transistors. Try it. I mean, use the Electra ideas I gave you about hard clipping, and yeah, try it. I mean, the Astrotone fuzz is a hard clipping fuzz. It doesn't have, the difference there is going to be that feedback loop. This right here, let me show you. This is a real differentiator in how the fuzz face works. That feed loop, the circular loop of gain. So it's quite a bit different, but that's a really great question. All right. Let's see here. Tone knob, where could we add it to the fuzz face? So you want to go back to the Electra episode. It'll be the final Electra episode I did. Someone in the chat knows more about it than me, but I designed the circuit. It's actually here on my iPad. It's this circuit kit here that they have, the Shrieking Eel. So you want to go back to that, and there's a tone control at the front of the circuit. It essentially replaces the input capacitor. That's how I would do it. That would be my tone control. It's like a body tone control thing. It's very similar to the switching arrangement. Jim Duck, what typings do you like on your tots? I rarely eat tots. When I do, I love them, but I don't really like them. I don't know if that makes sense. Cheese, I like cheese. Cheese and bacon. Fried chicken. French fries, I like those toppings. Chucky Byberg, are all transistors created equal, or are there better brands? In electronic component world, if you're a business making these components, the scalability and just the massiveness of what it takes to do this, there are only a few companies making parts, and they're all pretty good. It's really hard to find bad components. There's a lot of mojo talk over the years on the internet, and you hear like, well, these resistors sound better, they're more amp-like, or some nonsense. I mean, absolute nonsense usually. So that's my answer. Let's see here. Am I excited for the Super Bowl? I guess Taylor Swift will win. I don't know. All right, we have a winner for the 3 Series Fuzz. Leonel Leonel Gonzalez wins the 3 Series Fuzz. Congratulations. And then I'll hold for a second on that other. Leonel, I'm not sure how to say that. I'm so sorry. Leonel Gonzalez, I believe. You've just won that. All right. Phil Davis, Josh, can you teach us what you know about listening and discerning different types and pedals by ear? That's a really interesting question. It's like my kids make fun of me because we'll be, anywhere from like the state fair and there's like a song on, or in the car, or a movie, and I'll be like, oh, that's a whammy, or like, oh, that's definitely a tone bender. It just comes from playing a lot of things and just getting used to them. I mean, I wish there was like a better way to say that. I don't think it's magic at all. I think at this point for me, it's almost 30 years of just being around effects all the time, and then the last 17 years, I thought about this the other day. I've been thinking about it a lot. I'm 17 years into JHS. And to so many people, JHS is new, but 17 years. I mean, that is a long time to do pedals for a living. So my very livelihood is kind of based around listening and playing pedals. There's a lot more than that. It's a very small amount of the work that I do, to be honest. But yeah, let's see here. I would love for the questions to be focused towards the Fuzz Face. I'm going to do more Q&As for different things. The winner of the Crimson is at Hill. Just at Hill, Hill. You have won a Crimson. Congratulations. Let's see here. Here's a Fuzz question. S. Roan 45. Besides the Legends of Fuzz, what's your favorite take on the Super Fuzz? My favorite take on the Super Fuzz is probably... I mean, it would just be the original. I think the Shine Crying Baby or the Honey Crying Baby. Those are my favorites. I just love them because they're old. But I mean, it just depends on what you're going for. I mean, the Behringer one is really good. It's like a nickel or something now. It's like half a cup of coffee for that pedal. Yeah, I mean, there's so many good ones. I really enjoy it. Out of all of them, the Legends of Fuzz Supreme is that. But the Mary Kay is a K Fuzz, which is a simplified Super Fuzz. And I like that one maybe more. You guys are awesome. I just want to say congratulating a winner is such an awesome thing. Let's see here. Poison noises. Jordan, we talked today. So I've launched a blog. I've written about 10 and I'm like spreading them out over a month. So if you go to JHSfeedback.com, I've launched a blog and I am really obsessed and I just love how things work. Circuitry, but I also love why things become successful and what makes a business work and economics and money. I love the big picture of that, especially historically. And so I'm doing this blog, which will turn into another book. At some point it feels like they'll never get done, but at some point there'll be a bunch of books. But this is really about the economics of guitar, which is such a weird, stupid subject, but I love it so much. I was like, that's why I should do it. And the fact that no one's ever done it because it's kind of niche is why I should do it. So jhsfeedback.com. Jordan says, can you explain the circuit using an analogy about pins and how they are a direct correlation to the pedal market? You'll have to go read my first blog to get his pin joke. Jordan, like I said today, shoot me that email and I'll do a proper response to your rebuttal. Blog at jhspedals.com if you ever want to talk to me or about the blog or tell me something. Let's see here. And here's Belle. Oh, she said talk about your blog. There you go. So jhsfeedback.com. It's in the website under blog. Thanks to all the members that are in here. Let's see here. A lot of people saying talk about the blog. Very cool. Belle has said talk about the blog 10 times. I didn't see it. Let me scroll. There's so many messages. Let's see here. It's so weird having time. I'm gonna take a few more questions. Shane Dallimore, honest question. And Jordan says game on. Awesome. I give you permission to disagree with me. I love any teacher should ask people to rebuttal them. I think that's good teaching because I want to learn if I'm wrong. So, but Shane says, can you put these short circuit schematics in your blog? Makes it easier for future reference. That's an interesting thing. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe I should consider, maybe we need a short circuit, like a web page on our page, like a back hidden page that has a link and I can just and it's just full of schematics. It won't be organized well, but maybe that works. That's a really good idea. Thank you for that, Shane. Bell or Boki, somebody shoot me a message on that so I don't forget it. Richie can help me with that. That's a great idea, for real. That's really wonderful. Let's see here. Dylan Bauman or Bowman. Working on producing a Fuzzface clone with some mods. Working on a perf board now. Should I go PCB or start selling them on perf board? I think it comes down to what you want to do. We're all so different. Like, you know, I see Jordan Poison Noises in here. I've never seen anyone do his prototype methodology. I think it's psychotic, but he's really good at it. I could never do what he does. I see like Keeley or, you know, even Coppersound. All of us are so different. I think, and then when it comes to producing a pedal, I've done every version. Perf board, etched my own boards, Vero board, PCBs, through hole PCB surface mount, point to point. I've kind of done every version of it. I don't really have a favorite, and I don't know that there's some argument for a better way, because it comes down to who's it for and what makes that the best experience. So if I'm capable as a builder and I want to build 10 pedals a month and I enjoy perf board and I put a lot of love into it and it's done well, the customer will get that love from that product. If I'm in my position, I can't do that. I have to make, you know, 100,000 pedals a year. So the best way for me to help a customer and to be a great company is to do them the way I do it, which is a PCB mechanically laid out, made for manufacturing surface mount. And that's how JHS can hand off what JHS is to the customer in the best way. And I think a lot of times we look for these cookie cutter answers, but we need to just say we're all different and support each other. I do some stuff that's like hand built completely. You know, I've done the 66 series and stuff like that. And I'll continue to do that stuff. Some of the YouTube membership things that you're going to win if you're a member, I'm going to do one every month. There's going to be some like really special stuff that I built with my hands, part for part. It just depends on who's it for and what's the best method for you as a builder to meet those expectations. That's my 1 hour timer, but I'm going to go a little bit longer. This is great. Let's see here. I hope that was a good answer. Let's see here. Yeah, let's keep going. Corey Ayers, is short circuit always on a Monday? No. Short circuit is whenever I can fit it in without being stressed. So I run JHS. I film other stuff. I'm working on writing projects. I also have other things that I do. So I can never quite nail it down. Like today's on a Monday. I decided that last night at 1:30 a.m. And I sent Belle the message. I was like, I can do it tomorrow. And so when you see me miss one or when you see it pop up, it's usually a Monday or a Thursday is what seems to work this year. And it's like, you know, there's certain days I have certain meetings that have to be done because of the team at JHS, and I have to be careful. Like, you know, I don't want to like make everyone just work around my schedule because that's horrible. So there's like this kind of give and take with short circuit. It's a high priority of enjoyment for me, but it sometimes ends up having to take a back seat to things like, oh, we have an issue with this HR issue, or we need to look at these products we're working on. We have some supply chain, you know, there's meetings, there's like real life work that has to be done. Like I'm not playing guitar, you know, it's like stuff where you're sitting down and having to do some work. So it's usually Monday or Thursday. Hill, who won the pedal, says short circuit blog. That'd be too much. That'd be too much. I think me and Joshua both, in a perfect world, we would just write stuff all the time about everything, and then everyone would read it. But that's not the real world. I really enjoy writing, but my God, I need to chill. There's a lot of projects going on at once. Ben, hey Josh, if I make a cool pedal, can I send you one? I love getting people's pedals. I did a local clinic here in Kansas City, which is super rare, but I had this chance. Stu G was in town. I was like, hey, let's meet up and like do a clinic. I had about 150 people come out in a small room, and we just hung out with them. And 2 or 3 people just gave me stuff they made because they watched Short Circuit. I'll play that stuff this week or next week. It's amazing. I love it. So there is a way to do that. Joshua Bocanegra, he can put the link in there. There's a proper way to get it through to me where I actually get it. There's a lot of mail that comes in and out of JHS, but he'll put that in the comments. Man, so many good comments, questions. White Dark Dustgate. Question. That pre-gain, will it work like low volume at guitar? And will it still work if buffered pedal before 3 series? Yes. It will. It will still work really well. You definitely want this type of circuit first, but yeah, that's a good question. Fish on a Bike. Best name I've seen today. Congrats. Question. Is it relatively easy to bypass a transistor and or a pair of diodes when modding a pedal? This pedal has over 5 transistors and 10 diodes, and the distortion is pretty out of hand. Yes and no. So if we look at this, I've given you plenty of time to screenshot this, so let's wipe it clean. So if you want to bypass something, it's as simple as putting a switch around it. There are obviously no diodes here. But, you know, that's all this is doing, is this leg of that cap would normally do that, right? Well, not with a switch. It goes through the switch down. And until this connects, when you flip the switch, that doesn't exist because current flows through like that. So when you lift the leg, that part is dead. So you can lift anything. Now, if you lift this, your circuit's dead. If you lift this, your circuit's dead. So it comes down to what are you wanting to lift? On a pedal that has clipping diodes, you just need to lift a leg with a switch. Any diode, lift the leg with a switch and you're good. Removing transistors and stuff is a little more intricate and tricky because those transistors, if they're in the audio path, are you breaking the signal or the current flow? So that one's tricky. All right. Sergio Calto. Hey, Josh, do you know Animalizer Fuzz from TX Pedals? I had thoughts on it. I've never played that. Never heard of that either. Joshua Floyd, as much as I like to win a pedal from Josh, I'm more here for the pedal circuit knowledge. Thank you so much. That is very kind. At Hill, what's the next book? The first published book is going to be the Electroharmonics book that Daniel Danger and I have worked on forever. I'm about 8 years into this book. It's the full, complete story of the creative adventures of Electroharmonics. It's all the designers. It's less about the pedals, but it's more about the people who invented crazy stuff. It has been one heck of a project. I'm really excited. The book ended up being a publishing collaboration with, I can't disclose, but it's amazing. And yeah, we're hot and heavy in that project right now. I hope for that to be out at the end of the year. Skip Green, how much of your business is your choices? I mean, I have really good leaders. Belle is one of those. She's in the core team of leadership. She runs marketing. Nick is part of that. You know, they make a lot of great decisions when it comes to big stuff. You know, we're a team. We do stuff together. There's a term called a flat hierarchy. And that's something that I've always ran JHS by. If you want to understand what that is, just look it up, a flat hierarchy. We're not like your Starbucks, you know, where you have a CEO that's like, do this. And that's just not how we do it. Everything is, I make the final calls, my name's on the product. But that flat hierarchy is we all check and balance each other, encourage each other, discourage each other in the positive way of like, hey, you sure about that? It's a really great team of 6 of us. I run the company. I own the company. I'm ultimately the final say, but 5 people are in partnership with me on every decision. When I say every decision I want to be a part of. There's some things that they just run. I'm not going to get involved in like ordering resistors, right? But the big stuff, yeah, we do a flat hierarchy system at JHS. I like kind of chilling here and just seeing. Joshua Bocanegra just said, if you want to send something to Josh, email the JHS show at jhspuddles.com. That was the email I couldn't remember. Join the Discord. I'll do 2 more questions. They need to be about fuzz. Let's see. This is not one of them, but Joseph Gonzalez says my hair is on point. No, it's not. But maybe it is. Maybe that's almost like new Jimmy Neutron. We're close. We're like a mix of Jimmy Neutron and Conan O'Brien. Thank you, though. Let's see here. I'm looking for fuzz questions at the end. I'm down at the bottom. GBS boy, you modded my 3 series fuzz. That's awesome. Now that you have the schematic, you can mod it more. All right, Jesse Allen, question 1 of 2, and I'm going to wrap this up. How much of a difference between the 2 transistors is too much? So I covered this previously, but I'll cover it again. I do encourage you to go over and watch episode 1 of Fuzz Face. It won't say episode 1. It'll say Build the Legends of Fuzz or Silicon Fuzz Face. It was the first of the Fuzz Face bits. How much is too much is preference. The laws are made. There are no laws, first of all. The tradition is about 20 to 40. So if you have Q1 is 100, do 120, 140 on Q2. You go low to high. If you have 60 in Q1, do 100 to 80 in Q2. 20 to 40. I love 20. As you saw me today, they're kind of equal, but that's how the 3 series is done because I'm manufacturing this for mass production. And so we chose a transistor that's really equal, and we're happy with that sound. So it's really a preference thing. That is best question today, maybe. Burba Knox, question 2. Why does my 3 series fuzz get radio signal when I crank the fuzz knob? Is it haunted? So every single 3 series fuzz is haunted by your past. Your past actually has entered the pedal. And what I'm not showing on the schematic is over here on the output, there's this whole other circuit here. I developed this. It's called the haunt circuit. Has nothing to do with old blood noise. And basically, when you plug your guitar in, your soul is captured into the output of the fuzz. And all of your failures, all of your successes, all your disappointments, all your broken hearts over the years, they're captured. So yes, it's haunted. It's also just a fuzz face is very primitive and crude and high gain, and it can act like an antenna. That's the proper question, but I think the haunting thing was better. Last one. I know I said 2. Last one. Bell said best question. I'm reading. I'm taking this seriously. I got one more in me. Thank y'all again for hanging out. Love this crew. Let's see here. I'm looking for that burning question. I don't see it. All right, 5 seconds on a burning question, or I'll hang it up. I don't see anything I really. Let's see here. I like the pause. I like it. Let's see. All right. I'm going to close it up there. Again, thanks for watching. YouTube membership is alive. There's a link in the description below for my Amazon preferred recommended parts. JHSfeedback.com is the blog. It's softly launched. I actually don't know how Jordan at Poison Noises even found it. And yeah, I am not sure what I'll go to next, but I might do one more Fuzzface thing, or I might do the Tone Bender 1.5. I'm just not sure. the whole idea of just posting schematics for this group is a really great idea. It might actually keep me from doing a few episodes because at this point, and I think you agree with me, I've shown you the Fuzz Face ad nauseum, right? I've shown you the Electra, and maybe in the past I've gone a few episodes too far. I would love some feedback in the comments. Like, now that I've shown you the Fuzz Face, is it really necessary to show you the Tonebender 1.5, or would you like to just see a schematic that I'm telling you is accurate? And maybe there's a place to put all this. I can work through this later, but that's a really good idea. Someone, I think David or somebody dropped that idea. Would you prefer me to move on to something new? Like, I have a ton of mods I want to do. They're a little easier on my brain when it's busy. So maybe we don't hang out on the Fuzz Face past this. I'm going to leave it up in the comments to really decide. Do you want me to breadboard a Tonebender 1.5 or a Coppersound 1 knob when they're basically the same thing modded? That's what I'm getting at, is like, how far do you want me to show you the same thing over and over again? I think there's a lot of argument to do that because teaching and learning is about repeating the thing over and over until it's in you. But there is a point where it's like, maybe we move on. Maybe I mod a rat next week, or literally like a Boss OD3, a TS9, a Joyo pedal, like whatever. I don't know. I'm going to let you decide in the comments and let me know, and I will actually look at that. Playlist for Short Circuit. That's it. Join the Discord. I've really enjoyed today. This has been great. It worked. It worked right off the bat. It's messy, but it worked. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful night, evening, or wherever you are. Bye-bye.